Hey guys, time for another vlog update. It's day 3. So far so good. God, again, today was just a really great day. So what I do on a Friday is I have a pray day for my business. It's a concept that I learned from an organization called Kingdom Initiatives, led by or founded by Dave Hodgson, who is a very profound leader. He is a very profound businessman, a very successful businessman based in Australia, ex-Zulu Scouts from Rhodesia. So he has an incredible story. Anyway, he's built $1 million business in Australia in a global movement called Kingdom Initiatives. And it is an organization that equips Christian business leaders with applied biblical economics and biblical principles for building kingdom-minded businesses. So that sounds like a bunch of jargon, but it's actually really, really practical, and it's really, really helpful. And one of the things that Dave does is he takes a full day out of his week, a full day out, and he goes into the bush, and he goes and he prays, and he spends time with God, getting heavenly downloads in terms of kingdom wisdom, real strategies, like just God's will and desire and guidance in terms of what he needs to do in his next steps. And I was just so convicted because I used to say I'm too busy for this or too busy for that. And I was quite convicted, because if a guy who's leading a multi-billion-dollar business can find the time to take an entire day out of the business, how am I as a consultant not able in Durban, okay, not able to carve out a day or half a day or some time to spend time with the creator of the universe to get his guidance and his counsel and his, I'm going to go omnipotent, omnipresent, omniscient guidance in terms of my business. Like, that's obviously the character and who he is, but like, how would I not want that strategy in my business? So anyway, on a Friday, I set aside a few hours. I have not stretched my prayer muscle to be able to go and do a full day prayer day a week. So I do a couple of hours, and it's just it is incredible how when I go in, and we kind of dubbed it in our little branch, or our little meeting, whatever, our little group, we've kind of dubbed it our meeting with the CEO. So it's my weekly check-in meeting with my CEO to make sure I'm on track and to get kind of my next steps and guidance and all of that. And it's so crazy that when I come into my prayer time with the Lord with a prepared agenda, knowing what I want answers to, like I'll have a list to say, these are the things that I need your guidance on, that I'm not willing to move on without your input and without you having spoken to me on it. And it is so insane. The more I contend for my prayer time with God around It's a minute. Please keep it down, guys. Please keep it down. I'm filming. Lily's having a sleepover, and she and her friend are so loud. It's ridiculous. I don't know how much of their conversation you guys have heard, but I'm sure it's been a lot. Anyway, so as I was saying, it's crazy how, I don't know if that is picking up on the video, but it is so loud on my side, guys. Guys, shush. And it feels like I stay next to a main highway. It's so loud outside that the kids are louder than the highway is insane. Anyway, it is crazy that when I started contending for my time with the Lord, and I did it on purpose, how incredible the conversation with him has become. It's become so real that when I go in and I say, Lord, these are the business issues I'm facing, I don't want to move without his guidance and his intervention. Like, I've done it. I have lived my life as a Christian, taking control of my own life, doing things my way. And you know what? It doesn't work out. I manage to make such a mess when I try to do things my way. Like, I don't want to move outside of God's will, especially with my business, because that's what provides income for myself and for Lily. It's our bread and butter. Well, he's my bread and butter. I've got to be so careful with language, right? Anyway, so and so this morning again, I went in and I had a list of things that I really needed to hear him on. And it's just, he's so gracious that he speaks to us in ways that we hear him. And so I'll give you I specifically was wrestling with, I feel like he's called me to serve in certain areas, but I feel like there's a misalignment in terms of perhaps vision. And so I laid it at the altar and I said, Lord, this is something I really need you to tell me. Do I need to continue serving? What do you want me to do? And so I am currently personally working through the book of Genesis, right? And the content I was working through today, there were 3 things that stuck out for me. Number 1, how the brother versus brother narrative and the younger brother conquering the older brother in terms of righteousness and God's grace. I want to say providence, but it's not that word. Anyway, God's favor, I suppose. So if you look at Cain and Abel, if you look at who was it? Isaac and Ishmael, and then if you look at Jacob and Esau, yes, those 3. That's like before the 25th chapter in Genesis. Those 3 stories of brother versus brother and the younger overcoming the older, and if you're leaning into righteousness over time, eventually you carry the favor and the mantle of God. And that if you carry the favor and mantle of God, even if you are messy, even if you stumble, guys, Jacob was a bit of a shady character. Isaac also made some mistakes in his life, and they still carried the mantle of God's promise and promise of provision and grace and blessing on them. And they were messy. And so anyway, so the narrative of that stood out, but that's not what I'm referring to. And then I read a story. Okay, then what popped up for me was also the story of, like how Abraham, when he was wandering the desert, when he was wandering the desert, he met with Abimelech, and he went into the land where Abimelech was king, and I might be pronouncing it wrong, and go and read the Bible yourself. Don't ever trust someone's interpretation unless they're like a real scholar. And then even then, you need your own personal revelation. Anyway, so Abraham says to Abimelech, Sarah is my sister, okay? And Abimelech believes him. And anyway, later on finds out, obviously through revelation, he was lying. And he's like, dude, what is wrong with you? Why would you tell me that she is your sister? And Abraham's like, oh, because I thought you were going to kill me. Oh, no, no. So anyway, the next chapter, his son does the exact same. Isaac, with the same king, poor little Abimelech, says to Abimelech, sorry, Rebecca is my sister. And I was like, men, right? Anyway, so God used that story to answer my question around whether or not to serve somewhere. And what he highlighted to me is, when you step outside of your integrity, you don't only expose yourself, but you expose the people in your life that you're supposed to take care of and that trust you, and you call your God into disrepute. Disrepute, is that a word? If I act outside of integrity, not only am I out of integrity, but this relationship, the people's perception of this relationship can't look righteous because I'm out of integrity. And that disconnect will show up, even subliminally, in the way that I engage. And it doesn't honor the people I'm in relationship to, and it doesn't honor the king. So it doesn't even honor the person that I'm supposed to be serving. And it was so funny that he used that little narrative, that little story. It wasn't even a story. He just used that little thread of acting outside of integrity to answer a question for me around whether or not I should continue on this journey, or whether I need to recalibrate, or pivot. So, and that's why these prayer days, I believe, you know, when in the Bible it says, knock and the door will be open, seek and you will find. That is so deep on so many levels. And it's not just about physical provision. I believe that when we become the kind of humans, the kind of Christians that spend time in God's word, and we earnestly seek to understand, we want to see him, we want to feel him, we want to see him come alive in his word, he will reveal himself. And there are so many embedded narratives in the structure of the stories of the Bible that there is a nested story, nested in a story, nested in a story. There are 10 different layers on one verse. It's ridiculous how rich that ancient text is. And if we become the people who seek, he will honor us and we will find. And I think that's knock and the door will be open, ask and you'll something. But anyway, so and yeah, guys, so I feel like this prayer day has become a conduit to strengthening my plumb line as a businesswoman in my faith in Christ, and to make sure that I am never the captain of my ship, and that I stay in full submission and in step with Holy Spirit's guidance for what he wants. Because in my own perception, my limited reality, my limited understanding of what's around, I am bound by time and by presence. God is outside of time. I want his vision, not mine. And so, yeah, I mean, it was such a cool prayer day again. And, you know, that was he confirmed a few other things for me. Yeah, so it was really good. And so if you are a Christian and if you are in business, whether you run your own business or whether you're leading people or whether you are just, it doesn't matter. Seek to make deliberate time, to take deliberate time out once a week, to spend time with your real CEO, to get his strategies for your business or for your role. It'll change your game. It'll change your game. When I started to contend for my time with God for my business, God started to contend and show up in my business like never before. And that was really incredible. So that's me. That's my video for today, guys. I didn't know it was going to go there. I had 10,000 other things to share with you, but that's where we went. I'll see you tomorrow for day 4.